Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, like and subscribe and leave one. So I couldn't help but notice with Carrington, he seemed to be very low-key at Coachella. It almost seemed like he had been abandoned by anyone that he knew. He got tagged in a story by somebody called Vince, who he was on a reality TV show with, who I guess just bumped into Carrington there. It just seemed like really I guess Carrington just went to Coachella to do a few brand deals with BMW. That's like all he seemed to have gone for, because he was not hanging out with anyone or doing anything. So I couldn't help but notice that in Yummi's recent Instagram story, she was posting with one of Carrington's really close friends called Chase Keith. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he is another famous TikToker. And I just thought this is really strange because obviously Yummi and Jake Weber, they've all kind of not been talking to Carrington, but Chase has been with Carrington. Carrington literally moved out of Jake Weber's house into Chase Keith's house. Carrington and Chase have had a far longer friendship, and maybe a better one than Carrington did with Jake Weber. So then it begs the question, why did Chase not go with Carrington to Coachella? But then Chase went and met up with Yummi and Jake Weber, who we all know are not kind of effing with Carrington at the moment, especially because of the whole Raven situation came out. Just looks rather strange that a friend who was supposedly always had Carrington's back, took Carrington in when he left Jake Weber's house, is now kind of hanging out with the enemy, so to speak. Now, do I think it's that deep? Probably not, as I think Carrington and Jake fell out over the whole Raven situation. I think they both are at least civil now because they've been liking each other's stuff on Instagram. Well, I say each other's, Jake's been liking Carrington's stuff again. Carrington hasn't really been interacting with Jake at all. Johnny Gilbert have been close, but they've been close throughout the whole entire situation. Johnny Gilbert never left Carrington alone, and I don't know, that probably, if I was Carrington, that would mean something to me. But they have not filmed with Carrington at all. But Johnny is the only one who has mentioned Carrington in videos, and apparently they've got a new song they're working on that's coming out soon. Johnny Gilbert spoke about on his stream recently. I'll play a clip right here for you guys.
I scream at the end of it, and I don't know if it's goofy, but really rough. I mean, not really rough, but rough. Okay. Oh. Wait, what's that? Okay, what was that? What's it? Okay, anyways.
But then, if Johnny Gilbert and Carrington are still good, then why isn't Carrington hanging out with them still and just being chill with Johnny, talking about music and stuff? But perhaps they did, but they just done it off camera and kept it very low key. So I think it's clear Jake Weber and Yummi, they could still be friends with Carrington, but they're just too scared to film with him for backlash and ruining their reputations on the internet. And I don't know if you guys realized, but in their recent vlog posts, it was clear that Johnny Gilbert and Grace kept disappearing from Jake Weber, kept leaving him alone at Coachella. They kept going for breaks all the time.
I'm actually titling this video, Johnny ditches us every 5 minutes, because this man has a wristband that I needed and I don't know where he went, and he didn't even say bye.
It might just be because Coachella is overwhelming, and I know Grace has anxiety and stuff, because when they responded to Raven, the whole Rufid situation in the house party, Johnny Gilbert said in a tweet that him and Grace were upstairs the whole time anyway, because Grace is having anxiety of being around loads of people at the party. So I have a feeling that is probably what was happening at Coachella as well. Grace probably was having some anxiety, and Johnny Gilbert maybe does as well, and they just kept going to have breaks back to the house. But who's to say that Johnny Gilbert didn't go meet up with Carrington for a little bit in one of those breaks for about a few hours and talk about music and stuff, and then came back to Jake Weber? They could have easily have done that without nobody knowing. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the Raven situation and have no idea what I'm talking about, I've covered that whole situation on my channel very extensively. You can always go and watch my previous videos. I'll do, I guess, a little brief summary just so those who don't know about the situation know exactly what's going on. There's this girl called Raven who went to Johnny Gilbert's Halloween party last year, claimed that they were roofied. After the party, they got essayed and raped, allegedly.
I've been going in a downward spiral ever since October because I went to an influencer party. To be specific, I went to Johnny Gilbert's Halloween party, and at this party I got extremely inebriated. I believe that I got roofied. They still want to debate whether or not that happened or not, but even so, doesn't fucking matter. I left alone without my phone. They watched me leave alone without my phone, and I ended up getting somehow picked up by two strange men and kidnapped and raped and ended up in front of my adoptive parents' house. And I was crashing out in front of their house and screaming horrible things at them, so they called the cops. Cops didn't come until I ran up the hill and found somebody driving in their car and was like, hey, I don't know what happened. I didn't even understand what was going on because I was so out of it. But yeah, ended up going home in a cop car that morning. It was the first time I've ever been in a cop car. And then they filed a restraining order against me, which they won. So I have a restraining order against me for 5 years, which is really, really crazy.
Now, the whole reason why the group got backlash over this is because Raven apparently was trying to reach out to Jake Webber, Johnny Gilbert and Carrington. They're being ignored by them three. Now, Johnny Gilbert released that tweet. Everything was fine with Raven. Raven was very appreciative that Johnny Gilbert done that. Jake Webber invited Raven around his house. They hashed it out, had a big discussion. They're all fine now. Carrington is receiving the most backlash because all they done was like a very vague tweet and Raven was not satisfied with that response. Allegedly, the rumours are that Carrington may have been like the one who invited Raven around because Jake Webber and Johnny Gilbert didn't even know who Raven was. There's only Carrington who was somewhat aware of them. But I don't know, guys. It's very murky. We'll never know the full story. It's all rumours, all speculation. Nobody knows what actually has happened because nobody's really saying. Even Raven changes their story a little bit here and there. They allude to they're invited to the party, then they're responding to people on TikTok saying they just basically broke in and turned up uninvited. That's just what you do in LA. Jake Webber also alluded to that was what actually happened. Jake Webber done a tweet initially. They actually got backlash, but I felt like Jake Webber was probably being the most truthful in that tweet, in my opinion. And he was saying that Raven apparently just showed up, was uninvited, got blackout drunk, really embarrassed themselves. They were trying to get security to throw Raven out, and they kept coming back, causing more trouble. And I can honestly believe that because if you actually look at some of Raven's TikToks, when they're drunk and stuff, like they do seem to like act crazy. So I can definitely see them doing that.
I never said it was his goddamn fault! I never said it was his goddamn fault. I never, ever said it was his fault, okay?
I think it crash out.
I have gotten like 1,000 of those comments.
Part of it as well is that if Carrington did let Raven into the house party, Raven was underage at the time. They're 20. In the US, legal drinking age is 21, so they're underage anyway and shouldn't have been drinking at the house party in the first place. And if Carrington was somewhat responsible for that, then fair enough. But at the end of the day, guys, we have no idea if that's the case or not. And because Carrington won't really speak about it anymore, he's just kind of like ran away from the whole situation, has gone off the internet, and all he's doing now is focusing on his music. But coming back to the whole Chase thing, I do think it is strange, like I said previously, that Carrington was living with Chase. Chase kind of helped Carrington out when the whole Rufus situation kicked off, gave Carrington, you know, a roof over his head basically, and they were filming like TikToks together and stuff still. They were treating Carrington like normal. Carrington seemed to be happy being there. But it's weird because now I'm thinking about Carrington hasn't been living with Chase anymore. He's been like living in a music studio focusing on music. So has something happened there? Why is it then Chase is now being photographed with Tara and Jake? It's almost like he's switched sides or something maybe. Carrington is not living with Chase anymore and Chase is hanging out with Tara and Jake. Strange. Anyway, let me know down below, guys, what do you guys think of all of that? Let me know your opinions, let me know your comments down below. Let's have kikis, have chit chat. And that's it for this video, guys. So like and subscribe to my channel for more of me. I know you want to, baby. Hit the bell notification to be notified and pop up on your screen with a new video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Mwah.